Friday night rugby is back. Both the Dragons and Leinster suffered maulings in Europe last week. Both will be licking their wounds and looking to roar back in the Pro 12. It's second versus 11th, but positions often lie.
Yeah, let's go over to Sean Holley in the relative warmth of the analysis truck. And Sean, you look at the team sheets this evening, you know, the relative strength. The Dragons perhaps will fancy their chances against a fairly green-looking Leinster pack, but in that Leinster backline behind the scrum, they've still got some serious attacking options.
Yeah, don't let Leo Cullen pull the wool over your eyes, Ross. Strong backline, strong back row, and 3 internationals on the bench. Now, they're out of Europe, so the Dragons have to be careful. No complacency that they don't get a smash and grab against them tonight. And Leinster will bring their usual threats. I'll always tell my players playing against Leinster, you have to watch the inside ball. They're the masters of this. They're looking for that transition where they get the inside, where forwards are overcooking the fold. You'll see Dave Carney here in these conditions. 9 will get out and scoot. Justin Tipperick overcooks it. There's no fold. He comes on the arc, and that's enough in these conditions. And another thing with the Irish teams, no Sexton tonight, but both their 10s will be pumping it in the air, putting the pressure on the back three with the likes of Kirshner coming in the line. Now, the Dragons, they've been working on their forward play and their line-out variation. Kingsley Jones will tell you it'll be about up front tonight. Here, variation, Ed Jackson comes out, brings runners into that channel, looking to get across the gain line. And again, Rhys Thomas and Landman connected here. A nice variation into that corridor, and this occasion they win a penalty in front of the sticks. But expect to see a lot of this tonight, Ryan and Ross. Up the jumper stuff, even backs involved. It's going to be a maul fest, and it's not going to be pretty tonight, boys.
Yeah, it's not pretty out there, Rodney Parade.
The Dragons can come out, cut out those errors, they'll have this game.
So happy with the start, certainly, Sean, and they would have been delighted with that start. You know, 7-0 up after just 3 minutes.
Great start, wasn't it? Great game, Ross. No shortage of skill either in atrocious conditions, and it was just what the Dragons and Lynn would have needed, and it showed a well-coached approach to construct the first try. You know, in this area, in these conditions, you try and teach the players for a pick and go. You know, and Ryan will know that the outside clear, the outside clean as we would know it, is very important. And Leinster have to fold because they go the same way. Tuvey is highlighted here and Hewitt because it's on his call when they come back the other way. Interestingly here, when they do go, you can see now it's Bent who was highlighted against Hewitt. It's a mismatch. And Adam Warren, who's on the wing, he really helps that because there's a disconnect between Fergus McFadden and Bent. It just allows him enough time to squeeze in. It was a great start for the Dragons.
Cracking start, Sean, but Leinster, despite a bit of inexperience in the pack, they fought right back into it. And Luke McGrath showing a clean pair of heels to the Dragons' defence. But as Ryan just mentioned, it was a bit of a Dragons' defensive lapse that allowed him such a clear run to the line.
You'll notice both 9s are scooting around the ruck because of the difficult conditions for the forwards' feet around the ruck. And it was a cute try with McGrath sneaking through. It's from a turnover, so, you know, you get a bit of disorganisation. But we've highlighted Landman here, who comes out. Right, he is late getting back into the line. And in the system that they defend, right, Landman is supposed to jam in on the 9. Brock Harris does right. He has to hold his ground, as Nugget said, but Landman has to jam in. The contingency is Pretorius at 9. He's too late. He should be there to make the contingency tackle. McGrath takes full advantage of that. Later on in the piece, when he sneaks again, you see Stankovic does the right thing. He's at the second man. He doesn't fly out of the line. He jams in, and he snuffs out that attack.
Thank you, Sean. I think, Sean, you've been having a look at Leinster's defensive line at work tonight, just managing to disrupt the Dragons put in the line-out there tonight.
Yeah, I said at the top of the show that line-out would be important, and Leo Cullen was a wily line-out operator. He would have known that as well. And they've sought to disrupt the Dragons. On a +1 line-out with a forward at scrum half, you're telegraphing it's going to be a drive. They throw the jumper across the line, hit his arm, which is illegal, but it's not picked up on this case, and they turn it over. Again, the throw to the front, they tried this once. Leinster are pouring through and disrupting it. Close to the line, again, he plays the arm in the air. It's illegal. This time, Mitria picks it up with his touch judge. He warns Leinster, but then the pressure's on Elliott. The very next one, it's underthrown, and they turn it over. But as I said again at the top of the show, Ross, when they do get the line out right, they're able, under Lynn Jones and Kingsley, to put these ploys in. Hewitt with a juggle, he's shown great dynamism, hasn't he? He's been really a threat. And he gets across the gain line, right in behind the Leinster, and look at this skill in the conditions. 2 props, a second row, and it's a walkover for Tuvey. So, you know, they got their just rewards at the end.
They tackled admirably, you know, they did and executed everything they will have trained day to day.
Yeah, we talked in the first half, Sean, about how the Dragons, despite the conditions, were willing to play a bit of rugby. In the second half, as Ryan has mentioned there, it was all about their commitment and doggedness in defence.
Yeah, as Leinster came to smash and grab towards the end, sterling effort from everybody, but it took 2 pieces of skill from youngsters. Here, Adam Hughes holds up, and a man of the match, Hewitt, rips the ball right on the line, 4 metres out, and they're away, clearing their lines. And from what was possibly going to be the moment, the driving maul where they had backs in there, young James Benjamin had come on. He's the one in the middle here, going through the maul correctly, legally, causing disruption, taking it to ground for the crucial turnover. Fantastic from the Dragons tonight.
Thank you, Sean.